South East Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
South East Radio.
Well, the establishment of the South East Technological University on the 1st of May last marked the successful end of an arduous campaign to bring a university to the region. But the question on everybody's lips across County Wexford now is, when can we expect to see a new South East Technological University campus operational in Wexford? Professor Veronica Campbell, the first president of SETU, joins us now to tell us about what her plans are for the Wexford campus and a wider university. Veronica, before we discuss SETU, I'd like to discuss your career to date.
Okay, well, I'm a pharmacologist by training. That's my scientific background. And I've been in Trinity College for 26 years as an academic in the School of Medicine. So I would have taught over my academic career medical students, science students, allied health professionals. And I, for many years, ran a research group in the area of pharmacology, in the area of cannabinoid pharmacology, which is extracts from the cannabis plant, and also our body's own natural endogenous cannabinoid system. So I'm interested in those molecules in the context of anti-inflammatory properties and assisting kind of neurodegenerative processes in the brain. So that's my academic area of expertise, but I've had a number of leadership roles in Trinity, which have me placed to become the new president of SETU in academic leadership as opposed to the research field.
And Veronica, specifically, what appealed to you about the role of president with SETU?
So I come from a very remote part of Scotland, and when I was growing up, there was quite a brain drain from that region because there was no university at that time. And 10 years ago, a new university was established in that particular region of Scotland. And when I go back to visit family now, I see the huge opportunities there are to access education and also the development of industries and a research base in that region. So coming from that background and the opportunity that has arisen here now in the southeast, it's very exciting for me to be the president of the first university here in the southeast in the context of developing the access to education opportunities and the development of the southeast as a region for research and innovation.
And as the first president of SETU, perhaps you can provide us with an overview of your vision for the university and how you plan to achieve this.
Yeah, so thank you. So the objective of SETU is to be a leading European technological university. We are going to be embarking on our strategic plan over the next number of weeks, and that will be a highly consultative process involving our internal community and external stakeholders. But really, I want SETU to be the destination of choice for students in the region and from further afield because of the quality education we provide here, and to be the partner of choice for the industries and organisations across the southeast in research and development and skills development. So this is enshrined in legislation in terms of the research and engagement piece of the technological universities, and there is absolutely the skills and commitment and enthusiasm across our staff, across our campuses to lead SETU to success.
And of course, SETU represents an exciting opportunity for the South East region after many years of hard work. But how do you think the presence of a university in the region will benefit it?
Yeah, so I've spent the last couple of weeks since I started in the middle of July. I've been working, engaging with the leaders of businesses around the area, and they say that for their industries, having a technological university, a university on their doorstep, is hugely important in terms of being able to develop their organisations. In terms of the university's commitment and abilities in research and innovation, that's something that we're wanting to expand further. And for industries across the region, having that access to that skills base and talent from a research perspective, and also being able to tap into the excellent graduates that we produce, graduates that are curious. This is something that's coming back from from the meetings I've had, people are really so impressed by the graduates that we're producing, and we want to kind of develop that further. Graduates who are curious, who have entrepreneurial skills, who are able to work within a team, who are able to communicate effectively, and who have the specialist skills that are needed to serve the needs of industries. And when I talk about industries, I talk in the broadest possible sense, in terms of the tech industries, cultural organisations, the public sector, health service, for example. These are all areas that, through SETU and our research-informed curriculum, the research and innovation of our staff, our ability to train to PhD level, as well as supporting the apprenticeship development. These are all things that many industries, and there are many industries across the southeast, can benefit from.
And as a result of SETU being established, will we see an increased range of programmes made available to students over the coming years?
Yeah, well, so one of the exercises that we're going to do is what I'm calling an academic planning exercise that will look at our existing portfolio and mapping our future portfolio into the needs of the region. So that external engagement with industries and organisations across the southeast is critical in informing that. All of our programmes are developed in partnership with external organisations, so that co-creation piece is really essential. So we want to make sure that the curricula that we're offering, the skills that we're offering, and the graduate attributes that we're developing within our students are relevant to industries. So we'll be looking at our overall future portfolio in that context and being able to respond to the future needs and predict the future needs working with our industry partners. I mean, just by way of example, there are a number of new courses just this year that have been launched that support lifelong learning, from micro-credentials to degrees and master's programs. And they're in areas such as digital media, digital marketing, energy management, environmental health and safety, construction project management, aquaculture. And those are funded by Springboard, which actually provides upskilling opportunities at a subsidised course fee, or in fact for people who are returning to work or job seekers, they're offered free for people in that category. So we're constantly looking at how our curricula and how our offerings can support the needs of the region, and that will be a very key focus of work for us over the next number of months.
SETU represents an amalgamation of two institutes of technology that have been long established third-level education providers, and of course that have their own distinct approaches to higher education. So does that provide you with any challenges in terms of integrating and developing the SETU brand?
Yeah. Well, it is in business speak. I mean, I am leading a merger. The merger formally started on the 1st of May. It was completed on the 1st of May, and we're at the early stages of that merger. But I've been employed as president of one university, one SETU, and the teams across the campuses are liaising with each other on many things. I am very conscious that the future successes of SETU are building on the successes of the legacy institutions that have been up and running since 1970, and they have achieved great things. And in recognition of what they've been able to achieve, technological university status has been designated and formally took hold on the 1st of May. So I'm building on that success and very much looking forward to playing my own personal leadership role in developing as one SETU, one technological university, and the executive are very focused on that, and very good relationships across the campuses.
And Veronica, talk to us about plans for the Wexford campus of SETU and the relevant timelines involved for the development of the new campus that's eagerly awaited.
Yeah. So I've had many conversations about the development in SETU's capital infrastructure. Investment in capital infrastructure is desperately required for the Wexford campus, and we also have plans on the Waterford campus as well. And government support is required to move those initiatives forward. But I'm very excited about the opportunities across all our campuses, including Wexford, in terms of creating space that is appropriate for university and that will allow us to grow, that will allow us to provide more appropriate teaching and learning and innovation spaces for our students and staff. And so the development of the Wexford campus and the requirements of the Waterford campus are very much on my work plan for this year to move those activities forward. I have a timeline mapped out, but the timeline really is predicated on us securing funding from government to be able to move to the next steps. And those conversations are very, very much underway and very much on my priority to-do list.
So is it true to say that the funding to develop the campus has yet to be committed by government? And if so, how much funding are you looking for?
Yeah, well, I think at this stage it would be premature to put a capital fund on that, because we would have to go, we have to follow the normal procurement patterns and open up to the market in terms of construction costs, etc. So, I wouldn't like to be talking about a sum of money at this stage, because, a tender process has to be gone through. But we're looking to acquire a site, and we're looking to build a first phase building on that in order to support the ambitions of SETU on the Wexford campus. And those conversations are underway. A strategic assessment report has been submitted to government and has, is currently being reviewed.
So in respect of the funding for the first phase of the campus here in Wexford, when do you hope to have that funding secured from government?
Well, unfortunately, that isn't in my control, but it would be fantastic to have that to have clarity on those matters over the next number of months, because that allows us to start to plan timescales, to start to plan for tender processes, and to take the project to the next level.
So you mentioned the first phase of the project. How many phases will there be in total before the campus is completed?
Yeah, well, we need to do a master plan on a site in order to be able to explore the options around that, and of course the availability of funding will dictate the timing for a phased development of a site. So that exercise still needs to be done, and look forward to activating that process. So that will really provide really important information about the physical footprint of how that develops. What goes into each phase, and what that looks like in the context of the overall site, and in the context of SETU's ambitions for the area.
And of course, it has been confirmed that a CPO, a compulsory purchase order, is underway on a site in Wexford Town for C2. When do you hope to have that site acquired?
Well, I'm not directly involved in a CPO, but if we had clarity over the next number of months, then I think we'd be in a good position.
So what programmes are you thinking will be operating out of the Wexford campus, and is it going to have a range of shared programmes and also specific programmes based on the needs of industry in County Wexford?
Yeah. Well, understanding the needs of industry in County Wexford is going to be essential. I think of the South East as a whole, but recognise that there are industry kind of clusters, if you like, across the South East. So that engagement around the types of training and the types of needs and the types of research and innovation activities that are needed by industries across the region, including in Wexford, is going to be a key part of our academic planning exercise. We have courses, of course, already running out of Wexford, and we look forward to expanding and developing those further. But a key thing for me and the team in SETU is really making sure that we're developing courses that meet the needs of industries, that meet their skills requirements, that meet the type of graduates that they want to employ, and also that meet their research and innovation requirements. And SETU across our campuses, not least in Wexford, is well developed to be able to deliver that.
And will the Wexford campus of C2 have its own dedicated staff, or will it be using the existing resources between Carlow and Waterford?
Yeah, well, we have expansion plans, and if you expand student numbers, then you need to expand your staff base. So that's something that we'll be looking at in the context of an integrated financial plan and business case. So it would be not the case that a university could proceed with expanding student numbers and not making sure that we have the appropriate skilled staff base there as well to support that.
And what are your ambitions in relation to expanding student numbers?
Well, there are about 1,000 students in Wexford at the moment across full-time and part-time courses. As part of our business planning, we'll be looking to expand that. I can't give a definitive number at the moment because we need to work through that exercise in terms of looking at demand and skills needs. So that's all part of the detailed business planning that we need to do at our next steps. But to say we have 1,000 at the moment, and that number will grow.
And do you expect that the Wexford campus will have its own designated research capabilities?
There's already research staff in the Wexford campus. So again, that's understanding our overall portfolio of activities. Again, the needs of the region and how we can support the needs of the region and the Wexford kind of business community and organisations there. What do they need? These are the conversations we need to have. What do they need now? But more importantly, what's going to be required for the future?
And Veronica, you mentioned earlier in the interview about attracting students into Wexford from elsewhere across the country. There's been a lot of media headlines in recent weeks about the lack of student accommodation for third-level participants. On that basis, will SETU be looking to build student accommodation in Wexford?
So one of the things I'm looking at the moment, I've established a task force that I'm going to chair about student accommodation, looking at all elements of that in terms of unmet demand, and where and how and if we build our own student accommodation on our own land. So these are all active conversations at the moment. These are longer term, in terms of the time it takes to go out to tender and build and all the rest of it, so that we need to be cognizant of that. The technological universities need the capacity to borrow at low interest rate in order to be able to build their own student accommodation. So that borrowing framework needs to be in place. It's not currently in place, but these are very active conversations with government and the HEA at the moment, and hopefully will be resolved. So that task force is going to look at all of SETU's options and opportunities across all of our campuses, very much responding to where we have particular bottlenecks and unmet demand. What we have done in the short term as an immediate measure is launched Student Pad, which provides people who want to rent out a room or provide digs or have a house to rent with students who may be looking for a flatmate or students looking for accommodation, and that has been rolled out across our Waterford campus and Wexford site. So anybody living in these areas who would like to rent out space to students or is a student looking for accommodation can avail of the Student Pad.
And Veronica, finally, I'm conscious that many people listening to this morning's interview, the number one question that they'll want answered is, what are the indicative timelines for a Wexford campus to be in place? Just broadly speaking, when can we expect, in your opinion, a Wexford campus to be operational?
I think we're a few years away from that, and I think anybody who has knowledge of the construction industry would understand that there's a process and a public procurement process that takes a number of years from securing funding and securing a site to be able to deliver a new campus. So it is a number of years away, but it will be captured in our 5-year strategic plan for SETU, which we're working on currently and will be launched early next year. So I think hopefully that will give your listeners an idea of indicative timelines.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Professor Veronica Campbell, the President of SETU, and we look forward to hearing more about plans for the Wexford campus as they develop.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
South